All right. So maybe. Hello. This is the first episode of. I'm gonna basically be playing some Skywars duels or maybe some other duels. We'll see in the future. But so be playing some duels and talking about things, whatever I decide the episode's gonna be about. And um, yeah. So one thing I wanted to say. I guess we can start on the duels, but I'm not entirely sure what to call this yet, but you'll see. You'll see with the title. So I just wanted to see kind of what this would be like because I had been doing when I was a lot younger in terms of let's say like maybe 5 6 years ago, and I was really into content creation in a way. Um, it's just the idea of like obviously it would have been very different from now, but just like the idea of being able to like share with whatever audience you have, being able to share what you're doing and being able to present yourself in a different way than you normally would, um, was like a really inspiring concept for me. And I guess just seeing that, watching YouTube as opposed to like watching TV. And I mean, I think this might be the case for a lot of young people nowadays, but like watching, like I grew up with watching YouTube as opposed to watching TV, right? And I just found it really interesting that like, oh, okay, um, I find it interesting that like medium in a way has changed, and we do kind of develop we develop different interests through that in a lot of ways as well. And just like seeing the influence that like a lot of creators nowadays have on their audience, um, is like another thing that's kind of interesting to see. Oh, wait, what happened? Okay. um, so yeah, I thought like just being able to a lot of times just being able to be yourself in so many ways. I mean, in a society where like it feels like it's hard to be yourself in some ways, and that was something that I thought was really interesting. And my videos were, obviously a lot less quality, but I did find it pretty fun though, and I think that's cool that like whatever age you're at, you can start creating something. It might not be through YouTube. It might be through any kind of form of art. It might be a form of writing, but um, there's no restrictions. Oops. There's no restrictions on when you can start developing your passions. When you can start working on your interests. Um, so yeah, I would say I'm gonna move on to another topic now, and basically I'm gonna be talking about how I grew up with what I'm playing right now. How I grew up with Minecraft. I guess it's partly how I developed a lot of these motor skills with Skywars, but um, I did find it interesting that I mean there are a couple of games. I've always been really into games, but there are a couple of games that I've played throughout my life that have a different effect on you, depending on like at what point in in life you play them. I think it was YouTube Rasputin that made a really good point on that when he was talking about Journey, and I found that Minecraft is one of those games in that like because it is so like bare bones, right? It's just blocks. It's just blocks, and there is so much that you can do with it. There's no like there's so much that the community has done with it, and there's so much that the community has done with it. So much that you can do because it's been around for so long. Similarly to like Team Fortress 2, and I found that aspect of the game really cool or really nice. That like it can kind of welcome you back no matter what stage of your life you're in. I feel like in that it kind of works around. So you might be into like let's say mechanical stuff like redstone at one point, or you might be into building, or maybe you just want to like play a couple game modes, do some PvP, have fun with your friends, right? There are so many different ways to enjoy the game that it feels like, or like what Roblox used to feel like for me, it feels like there's no point where you'll stop having fun with it in some ways. And it seems to, as your, I'm saying this a lot, but as your interests like develop, I feel like it kind of, the game adapts to it in a way. It adapts to it in that there are so many ways that you can express yourself through a platform like Minecraft, and there are a lot of forms of it too. I do a lot of forms there. Oh, he did too. I'm dead. Yeah. Um, there are so many ways that the game lets you, the game lets you like no matter who you end up meeting. Like I feel like it's universal in that in a lot of ways. Um, and obviously there's burnout like if you play it a lot, but I feel like for the most part, and I mean as of right now, I'm kind of revisiting the game, right? And for a while, I haven't been playing it as much as I would have when I was younger. Oh, that was the same guy. Um, so for example, when I was eight, let's say when I was 8 or 9, let's say like 6 or 7 years ago, right? I would have been really, really into Sky Wars, into Bed Wars, into all of this PvP stuff. Um, and I mean, let me tell you, I was a terrible builder then, but like, I still found the appeal of the game really interesting though. And I mean, I would play it pretty much daily. I think an element of that is that I wasn't even as interested in like in other things at the time. I think like playing games was just my main way to like. I mean, I didn't have a lot of stress then because it's not like a whole lot of stress-inducing work. But I mean, when you're in like elementary or middle school, but I did find that it was like a good way to relax in a lot of ways. And let me turn this down a bit. Whoops. And yeah, I found that was a good way to relieve any stress that you had. And I just played it like a lot, sometimes too much. Not that I ever got into any like accents or anything, but I'm just saying. Whoa, okay. I would play it a very good bit, especially with my friends. And as we progress, like our interests change, and Minecraft, kind of like Roblox was for me, didn't end up. I didn't end up playing it that often, for that long, rather. But it was always something, or it is always something, rather, that I can come back to. I think, and that's the same thing I was expressing earlier with Team Fortress 2. Is there are some games that like for a lot of things I play, for a lot of stories that I enter or develop myself in, right? Um, a lot of times there's an ending to that. There's an ending to that. There's a period where um, there's a period, maybe like a month or so, maybe even like a period of a quarter of a year, where I'll be really interested in a specific game or subject, and then kind of I'll do the same thing for another game, and that ends up um, not becoming my main interest anymore. And I'll still look back on them and kind of go back on them and just look at the progress I've made in them. But being able to, I mean, in the long term though, Minecraft is one of those things that like I can see how far I've come in terms of whatever it may be, whether it's like redstone skill or building knowledge or like PvP. I can always go back and see how much progress I've made from when I started, which was probably when I was like, I mean, must have been 7 or 8 years ago, right? So, or something like that. And I mean, I think a lot of people have been playing the game for a long time, and I think a lot of people can share that sentiment. Yeah, I think this might be my last game, but yeah, thanks for watching the first episode, and I'm just gonna finish this up a bit, and I'll do an ending. But whoop, okay, I'm dead. Yep. Okay. So yeah, thanks for watching. I also do this one like I also do streams where, or I used to do a lot more, but sometimes occasionally I'll do streams where I talk about similar stuff. So if you enjoyed this video, you can go and maybe see my Twitch channel. Although I don't, there's probably nothing on there right now, but I might do some streaming soon, where I'll talk about other things, what I other things about what I've done. Um, some things that I really like about streaming. I guess another thing I like about streaming is there's no time limit, right? There's no like limit encapsulating what you're trying to say, but there's also some comfort in like episodic things because they're shorter form, they're easier to watch, and that's kind of why I think both forms are so popular. But yeah, there's some things I talked about just like about enjoying being enjoying being a streamer, for example, or things like that, right? Um, enjoying like being able to connect with an audience, whoever that audience may be, right? Whether it's like your one friend or your mom, or if you gathered a small community of friends, whatever that may be, it's always enjoyable to share something, to share parts of your life, to share what you're interested in with somebody else, with another group of people. And I think that's where I'm going to end this off. So, yeah. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.